Hi, I'm Richard Lewis Brown, and I'm running for SEIU Local 1000 President. The election is right around the corner, April 20th of this year. The ballots will go out in the mail. This is our second webcast. My running mate, Jacqueline McCollum, is running for Vice President, Organizing and Representation. On the 21st of March, our first webcast, we issued a challenge. Or should I say, I issued a challenge to Yvonne Walker and to the other candidates running for president. That challenge has not been answered. Therefore, it leads me to believe that I am truly the only one, along with Jackie, that has the courage, the integrity, and the vision to save our union. I stated over 30,000 of our members lost their homes due to the furloughs. Through foreclosure and short sales, this has disrupted and possibly destroyed their lives and their children's lives. And I say to you that I have the courage to say I'm deeply sorry for this tragedy that could have been prevented. I understand in election cycles that people make promises and say things to get your support. I sincerely say to you that we will enforce our contract, we will protect your pension. I will not be taking pictures with Governor Brown when he's asking for us to pay for our medical costs, pay half the costs, and our medical retirement. That will not happen. I sincerely say this to you. When they talk about transparency, I give you transparency. Once again, I'm Richard Lewis Brown. I live at 3225 43rd Street, Sacramento, California, 95817. My phone number, 408-207-2339. If you'd like to see a copy of my pay stub, please email me, richard.brown7437@yahoo.com. I am an open book. The other candidates cannot and will not show you transparency. My voting record is up on the website. Richard Lewis Brown for SEIUpresident.com. My videotapes voicing out against voter fraud is up on the website as well as when I spoke out to Yvonne Walker against the side letter agreement back in 2012 that reduced our money. And for a side note, let me restate this to you. Yvonne Walker did not lose any money during the furlough, nor did she lose money in 2010 or 2012. But you did, and I understand your pain. Therefore, if you elect me as your president, these things will not happen.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline McCollum, and I'm running for Vice President of Representation and Organization. And first of all, I'd like to wish everyone a happy Easter, which is Sunday. So I hope that you spend the time with your family and enjoy it and take the time out to tell each other that you love them. With that being said, I'd like to get right into what my frustration is today. Yesterday I received, as the DLC president, we get, every time there's a representational issue or a grievance created, we get a copy of it as the DLC president. Yesterday I received 8 arbitration denials. There's 8 of them, all on the same day. And that is such a pet peeve for me, that we pay all of our hard-earned money to our union for protection, and when it comes down to protecting us and our just basic rights of being state employees, there's no representation. And I don't like seeing employees have to file a grievance, and it takes their grievance an entire year before a committee decides if it's going to go to arbitration or if it's not going to go to arbitration. And I feel that grievance should not be written if it's not a contract violation. And the state and our union splits the cost for arbitration. So if our union is not enforcing our contract, what would make the state have to abide by our contract when they know at the very least they're not going to have to arbitrate it? It's not going to cost the state any money. So their bad behavior, the bullying supervisor, and our contract is constantly constantly being violated, and we have no resources. As a DLC president, I can tell you, I do not have an organizer for my work sites within Stockton area. I'm doing the representation, and I have over 2,000 employees. And so trying to travel around from DMV to EDD to Caltrans, it becomes very tiring at times, and even taking calls after 7. My phone starts ringing from 5 o'clock a.m. till sometimes 12 o'clock p.m. because there's different shifts for CDCR, and people run into issues while they're at work and they don't understand that I'm sleeping. But if I hear my phone ringing, of course I answer it and I try to service our members. But again, I like to, if I'm elected, I would like to make sure that any grievance will not be written, first of all, if it's not a violation of our contract. And second of all, there will be no committee to decide that it goes to arbitration. It goes straight to arbitration because I want to fight for us, all of us. Again, I'm Jacqueline McCollum, and you can find me at JacquelineMcCollum.com. Thank you.
And I'm Richard Lewis Brown. Stay tuned for our next segment where we discuss transparency.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline McCollum, and I'm here today with Richard Lewis Brown, who's running for president of our union, SEIU Local 1000. And Richard has some very important information he'd like to share with you, Richard.
Thank you, Jackie. So the election is right around the corner, like I stated in the first segment on April 20th. And I said this segment would talk about transparency. So I stated to you in the first segment that my voting record is up for everyone to analyze. I also stated that I have a videotape where I spoke out against voter fraud and when I spoke out against the side letter agreement that reduced our money in 2012. I want to take this a step further because I know there's candidates talking about transparency, but I'm not sure if they're really telling you the truth. I don't see their voting record. In fact, all the other candidates running, I've never seen their voting record. They've never published it. I've never heard them on videotape speak out. In fact, if anyone is doubting my sincerity for our union, you can check with California State Employees Association. Ask them for the videotape of Saturday from 2012 at the General Council, where I spoke up so we could keep our voice heard as voters for CSEA. I asked for a copy of that videotape, but I was refused. But I want to go a step further. Our union has a great deal of money. And so many times people ask, where is all the money going? So I tried to do an investigation. And this is what I came up with. A Form 990. The last time we filed this form with the IRS was for the tax year 2010. And it states for our total revenue was $57,143,627. And part of the expenses for that year was something that raised a flag with me. And so when I spoke about real dynamic change and how we spend our money, this comes up. Of this $57,143,627 revenue, we gave to an affiliate, which I don't know who this affiliate or affiliates are, $15,500,119. And so I wondered to myself, could this money have been used to stop foreclosures on our homes, to those who lost their homes, who had to short sell their homes, or who are upside down in their homes? I wonder. And so I say this to you again. I issued a challenge to Yvonne Walker. Can you please explain this to me? But I have a feeling she will not explain it, and the other candidates don't have the courage or the integrity or the transparency to ask for these things. Therefore, I myself, Richard Lewis Brown, once again state to you, running for president of our union, I'm the only one that has the courage to say something is not right. And our union has a long history of denying transparency to our members. I believe there was a young lady years ago, forgive me, I cannot correctly enunciate her name. I believe her first name is Miriam, and she's from another country, and she had to hire lawyers to take a quick look at our financial records. Under my leadership, Miriam, whoever you are, if you could ever reach out to me, you don't have to ever do that if I'm elected president. There's been other people who have tried to desert our union, who have tried to destroy our union because they feel like they're not involved, because we lack transparency. I say unto you, I'm Richard Lewis Brown. If you help me get elected, you won't have to continue these lawsuits against our union. Once again, my phone number, 408-207-2339. Feel free to call me. I don't have anything to hide. I don't have anything from my past concerning money, where I took money from the union, I didn't support our members. I don't have that track record. Maybe this is why the other candidates, including Yvonne Walker, do not want a town hall meeting where people from the audience, our members, can ask these questions and get some straight answers. Once again, I'm Richard Lewis Brown, and I'm running for SEIU Local 1000 President.
And I'm Jacqueline McCollum, running for Vice President of Organization and Representation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline McCollum here with Richard Lewis Brown, and we're back for our second 10-minute segment.
Our third segment, sorry.
Our third segment, excuse me. And I received a text message from our Unit 4 chair. She was questioning one of the comments that I made last week on our segment regarding Unit 15 and Unit 4 being the biggest contributors to COPE. And her text message said that Unit 4 were not children and they know the importance of COPE, which I never said anyone was children. I just said that they're the biggest COPE contributors, and Unit 1 folks do not contribute to COPE as much as the other two units, because staff or the union leaders cannot have that conversation with a Unit 1 person and get them to understand the importance. So I said Yvonne was getting fraudulent information sent back to her, and she needed to do some further research to make sure that she was getting accurate information regarding Unit 1. But with that being said, I'd like to go to the next topic. I'd like to know why we are called SEIU Local 1000, which stands for State Employees International Union, which in actuality, we're the Union of California State Workers, aka SEIU. And what needs to happen before we're legally can call ourselves SEIU Local 1000, a membership vote has to be taken. That has not happened. I'd like to know why. And you should want to know why it hasn't been taken and why we're calling ourselves SEIU Local 1000 when we haven't voted that that would be the name of our union. So again, send me a message on Facebook, or you can reach me on Facebook, Jacqueline McCollum, or you can go to my website, JacquelineMcCollum.com. Richard?
Thank you, Jackie. And before someone calls and says, Jackie didn't say what SEIU stands for, Service Employees International Union. It's easy, simple tongue when she says state, because we are state employees. So before you call and say that, let us address that. Let us address that. But I want to go back to what she said about COPE. I want to go back to our second segment, and we were talking about transparency. And I gave you my address, my phone number, stated to you I'll send you my pay stub if you email me for transparency. I want to take it a step farther. I became employed by the state of California in June of 2009. And so I'm going to issue a challenge to Yvonne Walker and to these other candidates again concerning transparency. Because my vision is to have 100% due paying membership. Unfortunately, we have a lot of members, whether they're fair share or non-germane, who state to me, where is the money going? Where does all of our money go to? And I cannot answer that question because we lack transparency. So I'm going to issue the challenge again. And to anyone that wants to see my tax returns, I use TurboTax. I should be able to pull up this year's TurboTax. If you want to see a copy of my taxes, I'll send it to you. If you want to see a copy of my taxes from tax year 13, I'll send it to you. And you say, well, why don't I look at your tax returns? Because I'm telling you, I'm for transparency. I'm telling you I have the courage to admit the mistakes our union has made. And I'm asking you to become a due-paying member. I'm asking you for a few dollars more, so you can take part in voting for our contract and voting for our elected officials in our union. Therefore, I'm not going to ask you to do anything I'm not going to do myself. But the biggest question is, the other candidates, do they have the courage to give you their tax forms or tax returns from the last several years? Will they show you their tax statements when they file taxes to see how much money they truly made? I don't think they will. In fact, I know they won't. Because they won't even respond to a town hall meeting to sit down to take questions from the audience. But yet they tell you they're a team for change. Those are empty words. Those people don't mean what they say. It's unfortunate. We already have current leadership that say one thing and they do another. So, I say to Jackie, here's our constructive alternative. To admit the mistakes our union has done, to protect our money, which means we'll say no to Governor Brown on this pension reform. We'll say no to any side letter agreement that reduces our money. And we're going to make everything transparent, which means I'll show you my salary. And we'll put it online. And we'll show you all the financial records of the union online. And then if people say, wait, why are we spending millions of dollars on this or on that? Now we can take a transparent voting process, void of any elimination of corruption, and then we can take a vote and make real, positive, comprehensive change to show that we are today's modern union without the perception of fraud and wasteful spending of past unions. I sincerely say this. And so we've been doing these web segments hopefully in 3 to 7 minute time frames, so we don't go too long. But I simply say to you, all these different things, all these challenges, Jackie and I are the only two people running for office that can make a difference. I can't stress this to you enough. We issued the challenge. Let's sit down. Let's do a town hall. Let's sit down and talk about the money. Where is all the money going? Who are we paying this money to? Are we getting a good rate of return? I don't think we are. Now, maybe I'm a little biased, but a bachelor's degree in science and finance, maybe, I'm thinking too much about the money, but it's your money. I want to protect your money. I want to give you the best rate of return for your money. So, on that, I issue the challenge again to the other candidates. If you can't answer the challenge, then please don't say you're for change, you're for transparency, because you're not telling the truth. We already have current leadership that doesn't tell us the whole truth. They tell you what they want you to know. I won't do that to you. I'm going to tell you the whole truth. I know Jackie's going to tell you the truth and everything else with it. Because there's a long story with our union. Her 26 years of state service, she knows the whole story. Me, I'm seeing things from a certain level. And the thing is, I want to keep our union strong. I don't want our union to go away. I want us to keep our pension. On that note, once again, we issued a challenge to the other candidates. Let's do a town hall meeting. Let's sit down and discuss the money and where our union is going. If you can't sit down, if you can't answer these questions, but you'd rather go through lawsuits and answer that and spend our money to respond to the lawsuits, then fine. I understand your integrity because you are a politician. Unfortunately, Jackie and I, or should I say fortunately, Jackie and I are not politicians. We're real people. We understand about real problems. And we'll always put your interests in front of ours. I'm Richard Lewis Brown. I'm running for SEIU Local 1000 President.
And I'm Jacqueline McCollum, and I'm running for Vice President of Organization and Representation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
1.
Hi, Richard and I are back. And just recently, I sent our president, Yvonne Walker, an email. And as a DLC president, I requested to know how many people were on union leave and what were they doing on union leave, and what were they working on. And I didn't get an answer, it was ignored. And then I followed up with another email asking who went to Missouri and for what. What did our members go to Missouri for, our union leavers? So, which brought me to another point. We know our union generates a lot of money, and we have a lot of money going out. So how much does our affiliates get? How much do we use for bargaining? How much do we use for SBAC? How much do we use for Yvonne and our statewide 4 officers' credit cards? And who are they accountable to? Who reviews their credit card statements? I know as a DLC president, I'm responsible for reviewing and signing off on all of my stewards' expenditures within our DLC. But who signs off on our statewide leadership's expenditures? We don't know. We don't get that information. And I also like to say that they don't always use the bargaining team to do bargaining. And I know this for a fact because we had a non-steward at Caltrans that bargained did a meet and confer for all 9 bargaining units for across California. And his name is Timothy. And I didn't get permission to use his last name yet, but his name is Timothy. And he said when he was asked to do the meet and confer, he was told that it was for his vehicle only and that he did not know that he was signing off for all 9 bargaining units statewide. So I'd like to know how much money do we actually spend on bargaining, because you have to be a steward to get union leave. And if you're not a steward, you're on administrative time off where the state pays your time. So are they giving us these fraudulent numbers saying that they're spending all of this money on bargaining when they're actually going in and getting members and putting them on administrative time off? Richard, what do you think about that?
Jackie, you're right. You're usually always right. That's why I'm running with you.
Well, thank you.
So let me see if I can say this in a very easy fashion.